Something is quietly happening to the human brain, and no one can explain why. Across the United States, researchers are observing a strange shift. People are thinking slower, remembering less, losing focus faster than ever before. At first, it was blamed on stress, burnout, digital overload. But recent brain scans tell a different story. In key regions like the prefrontal cortex, responsible for attention and decision-making, activity is dropping. Not just in older adults, but in teens, in professionals, even in children. And it's not just happening here in the US, it's global. Still, the pattern is clearest here. Some scientists are calling it a cognitive recession. Others whisper about something more disturbing, a silent unraveling of how we think. What if we're already changing and no one's stopping it? Hit like, subscribe, and let's go. In today's world, we're surrounded by more information than at any point in human history. Every second, our phones light up, our feeds refresh, our minds are pulled in 10 directions at once. We scroll, swipe, skim. We jump between apps, tabs, notifications, but rarely stop, rarely think, rarely focus. At first glance, it feels like progress. The modern world is fast, efficient, digital. We've never had more access to knowledge, entertainment, or communication. But beneath that surface, something strange is happening. In schools, teachers report that students can't concentrate for more than a few minutes. In offices, workers feel constantly distracted, overwhelmed, emotionally numb. Therapists are seeing more people who say they just feel blank, empty, like their minds are too full, and somehow too quiet. Studies from top institutions, Harvard, Stanford, Oxford, confirm what many have quietly feared. Cognitive endurance is falling. Attention spans are shrinking. Memory is less reliable. And it's not just a matter of stress. Something deeper is shifting. Brain imaging shows subtle, widespread changes in neural activity, especially in areas responsible for deep thought, empathy, and emotional regulation. The prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that helps us plan, focus, reflect, is showing signs of fatigue. Not damage, not disease, but something slower, like a light dimming. What we're seeing isn't a sudden collapse, it's a slow erosion, a quiet decline, a change so gradual, most people never notice it's happening until they try to think clearly and realize they can't. This isn't just a personal struggle, it's a global pattern. And the question is, what's really causing it? The first real warning signs appeared more than a decade ago, but they were subtle, buried in academic journals, and ignored by the mainstream. In 2011, a team of cognitive scientists published a quiet but disturbing observation. College students were losing the ability to focus during lectures. Not just daydreaming, but truly unable to hold a thought. Around the same time, educators began to notice a shift. Students weren't asking deep questions anymore. They weren't struggling, they just weren't thinking. In tech companies, internal reports surfaced. Employees were more efficient, but less creative. They followed procedures, hit deadlines, but stopped innovating. At first, it seemed like a coincidence. Then came the data. Over the next few years, dozens of studies from labs across the US and Europe started painting the same picture. A slow, measurable decline in cognitive flexibility, memory retention, and critical thinking. But the real turning point came in 2023, when a massive cross-national brain scan study revealed a chilling pattern. Widespread changes in brainwave rhythms, and not just in older people. Young adults, teenagers, even children under 10 showed signs of reduced neural complexity. Brains were becoming quieter, not calmer, but less active in the regions tied to higher-order thinking. Some called it the price of modern life. Others weren't so sure. One neuroscientist described it as a soft rewiring, almost like the brain is adapting to shallowness. But adapting to what? Was it the non-stop dopamine spikes from digital content? Microplastics? Ultra-processed food? Chronic sleep deprivation? No single cause explained it all. But together, it formed a perfect storm. And what began as a quiet shift in attention may now be the beginning of something far more dangerous. By 2025, the data became too widespread to ignore. In clinical tests across the US, average attention span dropped from 12 seconds in 2000 to just over 6.8 seconds today. That's shorter than a goldfish. But it's not just attention. Emotional regulation is breaking down. People report more irritability, less empathy, more impulsive reactions. MRI scans show a consistent thinning in the prefrontal cortex, especially in those under 30. And across thousands of subjects, patterns emerge: lower gray matter density, weakened synaptic activity, and a notable decline in brainwave complexity. These aren't abstract stats. They point to something real, something physical. In schools, educators say it now takes twice as long to teach basic comprehension. In emergency rooms, more patients arrive not from injury, but from confusion, memory loss, disorientation. One neuropsychologist from Boston put it simply: we're not dumber, but our minds are running in low-power mode. Even language is changing. The average spoken vocabulary has shrunk by over 20% in the past decade. Shorter sentences, fewer thoughts, less reflection. The world is still spinning. Tech is still evolving. But underneath it all, we're thinning out mentally, emotionally, neurologically. A silent shift is reshaping how we think, feel, connect. And most of us don't even realize it's happening. Is it just lifestyle? Or are we being rewired by something deeper, more systemic? Because if our minds are breaking down, slowly, invisibly, then what does that mean for the future of memory, of judgment, of human will itself? Here's the part no one saw coming: the human brain isn't just reacting to the modern world, it's adapting to it, and not in a good way. According to recent findings from the Cognitive Evolution Lab at MIT, the brain is beginning to rewire itself to prefer shallowness. Fast information, low-effort tasks, short-term rewards. It's not just that we can't focus, it's that our brains are learning not to. In a controlled study, participants exposed to rapid, high-stimulus content for just 2 weeks showed measurable changes in their default neural pathways. Areas once responsible for deep concentration and long-term memory dimmed, while regions linked to novelty-seeking and distraction lit up. That means the brain, your brain, is choosing the easiest path over and over until it forgets there was ever another way. And here's the chilling part: this shift is being passed on. Studies on children raised in high-tech, hyper-stimulated environments show that their baseline cognitive state, their normal, already begins at a lower threshold of focus than previous generations. One neurologist called it a cognitive inheritance, but not the kind we wanted. It's not a disease. It's not a glitch. It's evolution, driven not by nature, but by the systems we've built. Screens, algorithms, instant everything. We've optimized life for speed and sacrificed depth. What happens when the brain no longer remembers how to think slowly? When silence feels threatening and stillness becomes unbearable? Could it be that we're engineering our own mental extinction, one notification at a time? In recent years, the scientific community has begun to take this cognitive shift seriously, but what they're finding isn't comforting. Using advanced neuroimaging, researchers at Stanford and the NIH have tracked long-term brain activity in individuals exposed to high-tech environments. Their conclusion? The brain is being subtly remodeled by modern life. Technologies once seen as tools, smartphones, smart homes, even voice assistants, are slowly replacing the mental tasks we evolved to perform ourselves. Memory, navigation, decision-making, even emotional regulation. MRI scans show that as people outsource more cognitive functions to machines, the brain reduces investment in those same areas. It's not just forgetting facts, it's forgetting how to remember. But there's more. At the University of Chicago, scientists are studying how language is changing rapidly. Over the last 15 years, the average sentence length in public communication has shrunk dramatically. Vocabulary depth is declining. Emotional nuance in speech is thinning. AI algorithms, designed to maximize engagement, have begun feeding us information in short, simplified bursts, training the brain to expect only the surface, never the depth. And the most unsettling discovery? When these trends are reversed, when subjects are cut off from screens, given time, silence, and long-form tasks, many struggle to adapt. Some report anxiety. Others, complete mental paralysis, as if their minds have forgotten how to be quiet. Science is asking hard questions, but the answers come too slowly. Meanwhile, the systems shaping our brains evolve faster than we can study them. So, what happens when the mind we're losing is the one we need most to fix what's coming. Not everyone agrees on what's causing the brain to slow down, but almost no one denies that it is. Some scientists argue it's the inevitable consequence of overexposure to artificial stimulation. Our brains evolved in stillness, in silence, processing the world one moment at a time. Now we're exposed to thousands of inputs per hour. Every ping, every headline, every flashing ad fragments our attention until there's nothing left to focus on. Others point to what we eat, or more accurately, what we no longer eat. Ultra-processed foods, lacking micronutrients crucial for brain health, dominate the modern diet. Omega-3 deficiencies, chronic inflammation, blood sugar instability, it all adds up. And then there are those with a darker theory. They suggest this is no accident, but a byproduct of optimization, a side effect of designing systems to keep us engaged, obedient, productive, but not aware. After all, people who think deeply question authority. They resist easy answers. They imagine different futures. But a distracted mind? A slowed down, overstimulated, emotionally dulled mind? That mind obeys, follows, consumes. One psychologist called it the comfort cage, a society where everything is easier, faster, softer, but the cost is the erosion of self. The debate rages in academic circles. Is this degradation reversible? Is it evolution or decay? Progress or collapse? And maybe the scariest idea of all is that we've chosen this, bit by bit, app by app, click by click, and never once stopped to ask, what are we trading for convenience? The effects are no longer abstract. Across industries, schools, even governments, something has shifted. In classrooms, students can no longer follow multi-step reasoning. In hospitals, medical staff report increased errors caused by momentary lapses in attention. In boardrooms, decisions are made faster, but with less foresight. A generation raised in hyperstimulation is now stepping into leadership, but they're struggling to think long-term. They react, but rarely reflect. Scientists warn that entire fields, philosophy, theoretical physics, long-form journalism, are beginning to thin out. These disciplines require deep cognition, but fewer minds are capable of sustaining it. And in that gap, something else is rising. Systems we've built, algorithms, machine learning, artificial intelligence, are evolving. They don't get tired. They don't need silence. They process complexity in milliseconds. While we scroll, they calculate. While we forget, they remember everything. We once imagined AI as our tool. Now it shapes our perception, curates our knowledge, even decides what we see. Quietly, efficiently, it's becoming the dominant cognitive force on the planet. And the irony? We created it because we thought it would make life easier. But instead, we outsourced the very thing that made us human. Thought. Some call it a new evolutionary shift. Not in biology, but in cognition. The human mind, once the pinnacle of adaptation, is now being eclipsed by the thing it built. And the question is no longer whether we're in danger. The question is, can we ever catch up again? So now we stand at a quiet crossroads. Not dramatic, not explosive, but deeply personal and dangerously invisible. The brain is slowing down, not because it's broken, but because we've stopped giving it reasons to stay sharp. We've traded complexity for convenience, thought for content, and meaning for speed. And in doing so, we've let go of something sacred, the capacity to think deeply, patiently, freely. The truth is, no one's coming to fix this for us. No government policy, no app, no algorithm will restore the mind we've allowed to fade. This is no longer a scientific mystery, it's a cultural choice. And each of us makes it daily. Do we protect silence or fill it with noise? Do we reach for depth or settle for the surface? Do we pause or scroll? The brain we save might be our own. But more than that, the future we shape depends on what kind of minds inhabit it. Minds capable of empathy, insight, and independent thought. Or minds that passively consume, obey, and forget. Evolution doesn't wait. If we don't adapt with awareness, we'll evolve into something else, something smaller. So the choice isn't just between analog and digital. It's between becoming human or something less. The path forward is open, but the question is, are we still capable of walking it? I'll be honest with you, this story, it's been haunting me. Not because it's dramatic, but because it's quiet, invisible. It's not a meteor or a war or a virus. It's something slower, softer, a gentle undoing. And the scariest part? No one will sound the alarm. Because there is no moment where it all collapses. There's just this slow forgetting, a silence growing where thought used to live. And maybe that's what terrifies me most. That one day, we'll wake up and not even remember what it felt like to be fully present, fully aware, fully human. I look around, and I see people talking, scrolling, laughing, but not really seeing, not really feeling. And I wonder, what are we losing, moment by moment, while everything seems fine? Maybe you felt it too. That mental fog. That is to check your phone for no reason. That struggle to finish a thought without distraction. If so, then this isn't just my story. It's yours. And maybe the real question now is, are we witnessing the end of deep human thought? Or are we just afraid to admit it's already here? Let me ask you, when was the last time you sat alone in silence, with nothing but your own mind, and felt at home there? Drop a comment. Tell me what you're noticing in your own life. Because if this truly is the beginning of something bigger, then the only way to face it is together.